All right, I'm now joined by my colleague, SABC News reporter Katlego Legodi. He has been monitoring these developments for us relating to the strike action by Putco bus drivers. A very good afternoon to you, Katlego. Not on the ground today. Great to see you in studio with us. All right, so Friday there was hope that there may be a resolution then this week and that the operations may resume today. What exactly went wrong? But also, on the back of that question, I want to talk about there was a threat of, I think it was 1,000 employees who would be dismissed. What then happened to that particular threat, and were people in fact then dismissed?
Yeah, Putco from last week already, Flo, just confident in the processes that they've put in place to ensure that the workers resume operations this morning. So we woke up just optimistic over the fact that the commuters in Soweto particularly, they've been reaching out to us, the media, they've been reaching out to Putco itself, just to try find out where they are in terms of finding each other. That is the employer and the employees of Putco that downed tools about 2 weeks ago. So today, we were just driving into Soweto in the morning, just, with my colleague, looking around to see if there would be a sign of a Putco bus. And there was none. And this was an indication from the early hours of the morning that which Putco had anticipated did not happen. So we got to the main bus depot in Dobsonville. That is where the action has been for about a week now. And that's where we found, barricades, tires are still being burnt, police on standby, trying to speak to the bus drivers that are on strike to say that, there's a court order in place by the employer that gives us the power to really arrest you guys if you continue with this. This is at the back of Putco approaching the labor court last week already to say that, we need you to help us here because it seems like the striking workers are continuing on the ground with the demonstrations, the barricades of the entrances, and they're continuing with intimidation of staff, some staff members that wanted to report for duty. But that not even deterring the bus drivers that were on the ground from the early hours of the morning, trying to just push through with their demands and blocking operations on the ground. This is at the back of the employer last week, Thursday already, just enforcing the dismissal of about 105 of the workers on the ground out of that 1,000 that was touted. So the employer just basically saying that giving the ones that are remaining out of the 105 from the 1,000 an ultimatum to say that they should report for duty this morning or else they'll also follow suit in terms of joining their colleagues.
But why those particular 105? I mean, were they worse than the rest, in how they behave? Why? I mean, I suppose a message is being set here, but why those particular 105 that were then dismissed?
So according to Putco, these are the ones that were in the forefront of this demonstration. Okay. So when the intimidation was happening, the blocking and threats to those that were on duty, reported for duty last week, were taking place. So Putco managed to gather all of that evidence to say that who are the people that are instigators in this regard, who are those people that are defying the orders, even though we've called on the workers to report for duty. So who are those people that are really blocking us from continuing with operations? So these are the people that Putco also just said to us that they also failed to make representations. Remember that the company gave them until close of business on Wednesday already to just make last week Wednesday to make representations as to why they should not be fired. And the employer also just maintaining the stance that this is an unprotected illegal strike action that more or less would see them breaking the law. So he was saying that as negotiations and continue, these are the ones that should really be stopped and deterred, and an example be made of really in terms of the hard hand of the employer in enforcing or making sure that operations resume on the ground. But the union NUMSA has been in the forefront flow of negotiations in this regard. Earlier when the strike action started about 2 weeks ago, the unions were nowhere to be found. And we were all asking, where are the unions? Where's the Department of Transport in this regard? Because commuters are the ones that are suffering the most. The unions, just last week, towards the end of last week, coming through and even accompanying the workers to the Labour Court, where that interdict took place, to say that we are united with the workers here, and we're trying to just get the employer to do right by those that are demonstrating and have been demonstrating for about 2 weeks now. Just acknowledging the fact that this is an unprotected strike action, but saying that as unions, we can't just sit back, especially now that we are seeing that the employer is enforcing this termination of employment. So they've come through and negotiated. We know that the whole of this weekend there were marathon engagements with the unions to try by all means to ensure that bus operations just resume this morning without any hindrance. And the unions really are just saying that they have an offer from the employer, and this is an offer that they today just moved around various depots from the city of Tshwane to here in Johannesburg, trying to explain to the workers that this is where we are in our intervention where the employer is concerned. But upright, the workers not satisfied with the new offer, and contentious is the fact that they're saying that if the employer really wants to more or less negotiate in good faith where they are concerned, he would put aside the dismissal of the 105, because they don't understand how he got to that 105, and saying that they're seeing this as a move really from the employer to divide them as the workers on the ground, to say that when we started this process we were united, we started it together, but then now we find our colleagues really losing their jobs, rejecting as well that 6% offer that was made by the employer this afternoon, saying that this is a 6% offer that comes with conditions. The conditions were that the employer is not going to give them like the full bonus. He's instead going to backdate it. He's going to give them the 6% wage increase that would kick in November, and this won't be backdated. Remember that this was an agreement. This is an agreement that was signed in 2020 already. So if the employer was to do right by them, is to backdate and start doing right from the year 2020. But this is not something that is forthcoming. Also the issue of bonuses in this regard, the employer saying that he's going to give them bonuses in installment. He said 12 installments, 18 months installment, and they were rejecting this outright to say that you can't give us in bits and pieces. We want our bonuses that would be intact and in some sort of a lump sum, as to not avoid us not even noticing and seeing where this bonuses is going to go. So it remains, the standoff really remains on the ground, and the commuters are the ones that have really been in the receiving end here.
All right, Katlego Legodi, thanks very much for that full report. Of course, that's our reporter who has been monitoring the developments on the strike action on Putco bus drivers, and will certainly be giving us an update as, of course, we do continue to follow this particular story.